am Sue Webley. Welcome to another episode of Inspire. Hey, listen, that intro just gives me a burst of energy and I'm glad about it. Welcome to another episode of Inspire. I see you coming in. Do me a favor as you are coming in. I want you to share this out because we are going to have a really important conversation on grief and how to navigate it with the amazing Oresa Napper Williams. And so she'll be on in a minute. But I do want to take some time to greet all of you. Can you believe we're in the last Saturday? Are we in the last Saturday? Let me make sure before I get rid of it altogether. Yes, we are in the last Saturday of Black History Month. We know Black History is 365, 24/7, but we've been celebrating Black excellence all month. And I'm glad that all of you have been here to join me. I see you. Hey, Reverend Dr. Marilyn Pagan Banks, my dear sister, Elder Boaz, I see you coming in. Listen, I can't shout you out unless you say something. So let me know that you are here. If you have just stumbled upon this broadcast, you don't know who I am. I am your host. I am Sue A. Webley. I am an author, producer, and award-winning minister and founder of Cara Solutions, a full digital service agency that helps individuals and organizations navigate the virtual space with confidence. I believe in the power of words, wisdom, and witness, and that's exactly what Inspire is all about. This show is a live interview style broadcast on a mission to encourage, empower, and embolden individuals to create change in their lives, communities, and the world. And as our amazing guests, as our entrepreneurs, our influencers, our creatives, and thought leaders share their testimonies, tips, and tools with us, we hope that you are watching on social media right now, you who will catch this in the replay, we hope that you are inspired to elevate your mindset, pursue your dreams, and to do, as the late Dr. Katie Geneva Cannon put it so eloquently, the work your soul must have. We are live right now on Facebook, on Instagram, on YouTube, and on LinkedIn. Hey, Deaconess Angie. Oh, it's so good to see you. Thank you for joining. Thank you for joining us. I want you to do me a really big favor. I'm building out the platform for as long as we are on the metaverse. Okay? Because things are happening. We're going to have to, we might have to move. All right. But for as long as we are here, I want you to connect, follow, like, and subscribe. Follow me on Inspire with Sue W on Facebook and on Instagram. If you happen to be watching on our YouTube channel, that's Cara Solutions LLC. If you haven't already followed us on Cara Solutions LLC, please go ahead and do that. Also invite you to head over to our website at www.getinspired.live. There you can watch all of our previous episodes, find out a little bit more about the show, and sign up for our newsletter. We don't want you to miss a thing. And so we invite you to sign up for our newsletter on www.getinspired.live. So I'm going to find out what you're sipping on this morning. Listen, wait. We trust in Black women. Thank you, Devon Madison from We Are the 92%, that group on Facebook. If you're a Black woman and you haven't not heard about that group, look for it. So thank you, Devon Madison, for this cup. We trust in Black women. That's what we are doing today. I'm sipping on some coffee. What do you have in your cup? Is it water? Is it tea? Is it orange juice, apple juice? Is it a smoothie? Listen, some people need something a little stronger, and I'm not judging. Amen. So I'm going to go ahead and sip. Tell me where you're watching from and what you're sipping on. Again, I want you to do me a favor and share. If you've ever experienced loss of any kind, this conversation is for you. And I was telling Lady O before we went live that it's appropriate that this particular broadcast is today because I just lost one of my closest, dearest friends, my sister, my business partner, Lynn Summers. Well, she was Vonnie to me, and yeah, we speak your name, Lynn Summers. We speak your name, Vonnie. You are with the risen ancestors. You are among the cloud of witnesses, and so send prayers. We are lifting up her family, lifting up her daughter, Terrell, lifting up the entire Womble and Summers family as they prepare to do an amazing celebration of life. She was an incomparable woman, a force to be reckoned with, a true songstress. Yeah, we're gonna miss you, my Vonnie. We're gonna miss you. And so it was appropriate that this conversation is taking place today. So if you have experienced any type of loss, if you just lost a loved one, even grieving the loss of a job, a loss of health, whatever the loss is, I believe that this conversation will help you today. So let us get into introducing our amazing guest today. I'm so excited. We are honored to welcome an extraordinary woman whose journey from pain to purpose has touched countless lives, Oresa Napper Williams. After the heartbreaking loss of her son Andrell to gun violence, Oresa turned her grief into a powerful movement, founding Not Another Child, NAC, to support grieving families and advocate for change in communities affected by violence. Through her groundbreaking book, Good Grief, a 12-step guide to grieving in the 21st century, Oresa is helping others find hope and healing, transforming the way we understand grief, recovery, and purpose. But her impact doesn't stop there. Oresa is a faith leader, grief counselor, community activist, and advocate, partnering with leaders nationwide to fight against gun violence and uplift marginalized communities. Her mission is rooted in, this is a chapter in her book that she'll talk about, honor through legacy, service, and love. And her story is a powerful testament to Black excellence, which is what we're celebrating this month, staying power, and leadership. So today we're here about her journey. We will take a dive into her book. I didn't ask before, but I hope she has an excerpt ready to read from her book today, her vision for Not Another Child, and how she's inspiring others to live with purpose, courage, and hope. And so you know what I do. I always scour social media looking for something to introduce our guests with. And this, I believe, you could correct me when you come on, Oresa. This was a recent I don't know if it was an awards dinner or something like that, but you'll let me know what it is when you come on. Let's get ready to meet Oresa Napper Williams.
Walking in my purpose, can nobody stop me? Every single step, I'm becoming who I'm meant to be. Focused on my path, I'm the one, I'm the key. Living on my dreams, yeah, I'm walking in my destiny. Purpose is my guide, I won't be denied. With every stride, I feel alive. Overcoming, thriving, I won't hide. In my purpose, I can fly.
Welcome, Oresa, Lady
Good
O.
morning. Happy Saturday.
Happy Saturday to you. Thank you for joining us here on Inspire. Where was that from?
That was from a survivors gala in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. And so that was the mayor of Milwaukee that you saw, as long with a county executive. They have a little different out there. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I've got the chance to spend the day with them to do some workshops and support some survivors that had lost children as well out in that area.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you for sharing
Thank
that. And thank you
you.
for joining us on Inspire again. What is in your cup this morning, Lady O?
This morning I took it easy. So I'm usually a coffee girl, get my spark for the day, or I have the tea and the tea bag. But today I just have some mango juice, some
Oh.
100%. Yes, this is from a big box store that we as African Americans are supporting right now. I found it in Costco. And so it had mango, lychee, and pineapple. And it's so good because it has the pulp in there. Like, I love 100% juice, not that sugar water with a splash of color in it. So this morning I'm gonna take it easy and just have me some juice.
Okay.
And yeah. So
Thank
this is what
you.
I'm gonna sip on today.
All right. Listen, if you are here as a guest of Lady O, please shout yourself out so we can greet you. I'm sure that you have some supporters and followers and family members
I
hanging
hope
out
so.
with us.
Where my people at? Where's my people at?
Listen, if you are a part of the Lady O crew, I need you to shout it out so that we can acknowledge you today. So you have written, curated, put together such a powerful book. It's called Good Grief, and that it's a powerful title, right? Before we get into the why, I want you to share with us what made you realize that grief could be good.
You know, I as other people see things in you sometimes before you can see it in yourself. And, I spoke about in a book where I was asked to do a workshop for our women's conference of my church. And I'm like, oh, sure. And when they told me the title, I was like, good grief. Like, what about grief is good? Why did y'all ask me to do this? And they said, because that is what we're seeing from you. Not just, how we love our slogans, you turn your pain into purpose and you do. They said, we just see that you are grieving in such a shining, and godly way that we need to talk about that. And we need to see how we can get others to join in that type of journey. And so once they saw it in me, that name and that title stuck with me. And I continue to think, if this is what people see in me, what am I doing or what have I learned to make me have good grief? And so then I just went on the journey because I think that was about 2018, maybe somewhere in there. So I've just been soul searching during that time to see what good grief really is. Charlie Brown said it a lot, or they said it to him. Good grief, Charlie Brown. But because he was getting on their nerves and doing so much stupid stuff. But this wasn't that type of good grief. It's really grieving through the eyes of the believer. And sometimes we take that scripture, we don't mourn as the world does, but we still mourn. We still grieve, although it may be different. That is still something that, God gave us to do. Blessed are they that mourn, for they shall be comforted. And so how can we know that God is a comforter if we don't mourn, if we don't grieve? So this is also an opportunity to show the world and to show yourself who God really is. So that's what brought good grief to my doorstep. And now my everyday mission through tears, through pain, is to have good grief.
Thank you for sharing. Now, I know you wrote this book to a predominantly or for a predominantly Christian audience. And so we have many different types of viewers here in Inspire. So I know that
Absolutely.
what's in this book, let me put it up on the screen because I didn't do that. What's in this book is helpful to everyone.
Yes, it is.
It's helpful to
Yes, it is.
everybody. Okay, even though
Yeah.
it is written to a predominantly Christian um, demographic.
Yeah. And I think it's important that although my son being murdered is the amplified portion of my life, my mother also transitioned. My
Mm,
brother also transitioned. I sat in your seat with I don't like to say losing, but a girlfriend of mine that I've had since we slept in the bed together as teenagers. Her
mhm.
transitioning a year and a half ago now, and so it comes from all of those lenses. My father-in-law, who turned out to be a father to me. I have another girlfriend. We sang in the choir side by side, families. So it comes from different lenses. So I had a lot of people say, yeah, I have somebody who lost their son. I'm gonna make sure they get. I'm like, it's not just about that. Grief don't say, I'm gonna hit you heavier because you lost your child. No, I have plenty of friends that are my age, or in that age range that never had children, never have had deep relationships, and mothers, fathers transition. They don't have children. And so they have that deep grief as well. And so this book is for all of them. I have a portion in there that says, I see you. Because sometimes, because it may be a cousin or a mother or a father in your older age, people don't see the pain that people still go through in that grief portion. So that part of I see you just names people, so they'll know, wow, somebody really sees that I'm in grief and I'm on my journey. So the book is for everybody. It is very transparent. I'm a faith girl. I'm a Christian all the way, but grief has no respect of person, religion, culture, none of that. And
Yes.
so, yes, thank you for pointing that out, Sue.
Yes, yes, yes. So thank you for sharing. So
Yeah.
you openly talk about the loss of your son, and that was like the catalyst, right? That set you on
Mhm.
this path to create something, and we'll talk about that legacy through NAC. But can you tell us share with us a little bit about your experience with the loss of Andrell,
Mhm.
and then was there a moment when you realized that your grief could help others?
Mm. So my experience, and I know we'll talk about it later, but my experience with losing Andrell, with Andrell transitioning, was such a eye opener for me. You know, um, and it was different from a lot of people that I work with now. And I could never identify what put me on that road to healing. And because a lot of people, when a loved one dies in a tragic way, it could be a car accident, it can be a drug overdose immediately, especially Black women. Our resilience kicks in like, oh no, this is not going to happen to me. I'm going to do something about it. But I found that um, my road to this started early. And so because of the people that was encamped around me, I didn't go home from the hospital. I was put in a car and I went to two of my friends' house straight from the hospital for weeks. So I was not re-traumatized back into the position of your son is not here, and it gave me time to think, to reflect, to scream, to have the support that I needed, all types of things. And I think that, you know, how we are thrust into the situation, but thereafter, how things roll out is very important, you know. And so my experience with Andrell was traumatic, of course. No one wants to get a phone call at 10:05 p.m. on a summer night on August 7th, any day. But
Yeah.
my day was August 7th, 2006 at 10:05 p.m. Nobody wants to get a phone call that your child was shot. You
And
know,
how old was he?
he was 21.
21.
He was 21, which is crazy, Sue, because it seems like that's old at this time with all of our younger babies being shot and killed. It's like, oh, he was 21. Like, and I'm like, that's still young, but it's so many teenagers that are meeting their demise such younger nowadays. He was 21, and even after I got the call from my cousin that he was visiting, just driving with the thoughts in my head, and just allowing that time to obtain peace. Like whatever it was going to be, it was going to be. And, just going to the first hospital, which was the trauma hospital in Manhattan, Bellevue, where they take people whose lives they're trying to save to.
Yes.
And realizing that my son wasn't there, another young man was. And them giving me the hospital that he was at and driving up. And, if anybody lives in New York, Woodhull Hospital, the emergency room, it's a long slope that goes around. And when I pulled up, I saw the people and I'm like, oh my God, Melvin Crispell, what are you doing here? Oh my, like friends from through the ages, from school, from the community, from churches, from everywhere. They were lined up, boo-hoo, crying. And I'm like, okay, what is going on? And I get inside and, other family members were in the room as well. And the doctor comes out and here comes the parts of the experience. The doctor comes out and he says, do you know what your son had on? And I'm like, a white t-shirt. I don't know if it was the top one or the white beater under it, but a white t-shirt. Do you know what your son was doing over here? And then I quicken. I'm like, wait a minute. Why are you asking me these questions and not telling me about my child?
Yeah.
And here comes Black boy stigma. Oh, I couldn't save him, and walks away. And so those little things started to resonate. I got in the car, I got outside and kept wondering why my other son was not there. Well, when they called my other son, they told him that he was shot in the back of his head. They didn't tell me that. So my other son knew, what am I rushing for? And I looked and the J train is there and the long steps. And he's taking his time coming down the steps. And I realized I will never see them together again. And I fall to my knees and I'm screaming, Justin. And he comes to me and he looks over me on the ground and says, Ma, Ronnie wouldn't want you acting like that. Get up. And I realized as I held on to him getting up, this is one of those times that I'm going to have to fight, and go out to Jersey. And then another part of the stigma comes. I get a call from the detective, not even an hour later. Is this Miss Napper? I was Miss Napper at the time. I'm Detective Hennigan. I'm on the case and of your son. And I'll tell you if he had anything to do with it. Excuse me? Oh, you don't have to tell me anything. I never even picked up this man's call again. And so those little things, I started the basketball tournament after that because a 15-year-old pled guilty. Although at that time, a 25-year-old took us through a trial, and years later, it was federal RICO charges brought up on 3 more individuals for my son. But I started the basketball tournament because I just wanted to set a platform for kids to scream, for me to scream at them, and you invite the boys and the girls will come. And so I did that. But the second part of your question, I never wanted to do the work that I'm doing. I wanted the fluffiness of just screaming at kids. But it was then when parents started to come to me and mothers started to come to me that had lost their child. and they really was looking for hope, for direction, for support in the journey, and I didn't know much. I was still new in the journey myself, and we locked arms and we started experiencing the journey together, and what it could look like, not on a journey of grief, but on a journey of healing.
Mm.
And I think that's what made it a little different, even with peer support sessions. Like, parents don't come there like just hearing the stories over and over, being re-traumatized and, things like that. You come there, you are going to get some support of healing, on this journey. And I need to see how you have been navigating and moving from A to B to C to D, like where you are in this journey. And so that's how things kind of transpired and how they're moving now.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing that. If any of you see me looking to the side, I'm checking out our Instagram audience. So thank you,
Okay.
Instagram, for joining us today. And all of you who have joined us. Listen, if you have a question, we are in conversation with Oresa
Nice.
Napper Williams. I see somebody, is it Tyron?
Teron, my nephew.
Yes,
Hey,
your
Ron.
nephew is here, and Monique Williams is here. Your
Oh,
sister is here. So we
my
want to thank
childhood
all of you.
friend, my sister,
We
who
want to
was
thank.
with me when Andrell was born.
Wow, wow. So
Yeah.
we're so appreciative of you all coming out to support
Thank you,
Lady
family.
O today. Once again, we are talking about her book, Good Grief, a 12-step guide to grieving in the 21st century. And you have the opportunity to win a copy of the book and the workbook that accompanies it. And
Yay.
so if you want to be in the drawing for that, just type hashtag inspire. Type hashtag inspire. Make sure it's not separated, that hashtag and the word, so that you can be included in the drawing. And listen, we believe in supporting,
Yes,
right? So
yes,
we
yes,
also
yes,
want you to purchase a
yes,
copy of the book.
yes.
So for signed copies of Good Grief or to bundle with the workbook, I'm going to put that link in the chat right now. And so I've shortened that link. It's bit.ly ONW books. So go ahead and
Nice.
click that to purchase a copy, even if it's not for you, right?
Hmm.
Purchase a copy for a loved one that may need to hear, to read these words, that we need a little bit of support in their grieving process. So you write in your book that grief is a must, but recovery is an option. Grief is a must, but recovery is an option. You share a little bit about the village
Mm-hmm.
that circled you, right? But how did you, even with support, how did you find courage to keep moving forward?
Yeah, well, I was the mother of, and I still am, the mother of two sons, you know, um, single mother. And I think that knowing that in life, my sons depended totally on me. I could not let my son transition at 21 with no children, no nothing. He died with a dream. I could not let his life go like that. He did not deserve that, for me to just roll over and die. He did not deserve that. And I think that our Black men get such a bum rap in life. you know in death, I wanted to make sure that his life was upheld. And life and death are so synonymous. you know um and then one thing that I found out on this journey also is that we all know that death is inevitable. And I had a friend, he's probably not on here, but he posted on somebody's page the other day, I hate death. And I was getting ready to post back, but I texted him and I said, we have to realize that it's not death that we hate, because we know that we all are going to die. That is a part of life. It's the grief that we experience thereafter. It is the loss. It is knowing that we will never see this person again on this side, or according to whatever you believe, the reality is on this side, you will not see that person again. Yeah, their spirit will be with you, whatever. But those encounters that you've had, you won't have that again. And so I don't think it's death that we hate so much. It is the grief. It is the loss that we experience thereafter. And when I say grief is a must, it's because whether you want to or not, you are going to grieve in some way. You're going to grieve in some way. You can't take grief and sit it down for the day and say, oh, I'll be back to get you later. And even if you think you're doing that, grief is something that overwhelms you at times when you don't even know, but recovery is your option. You don't have to stay in grief, and I think that just knowing that it was up to me to keep my son's legacy alive. And to support others in the process. Because like you said, you're hearing about my support, my community. A lot of people don't have that nowadays.
Right.
And depending on what people think of your loss, like I have a lot of mothers whose sons may have been in a gang, may have, done crazy stuff, and people have their own ideology of who should get support. And if that is the case, because that is the case sometimes, make them pay for that, not the family that's here and left to grieve, because their journey needs all hands on deck. I hate to hear death and grief separating families, because that's when you need each other most. Husbands and wives divorcing because the husband is like, or the wife is like, he can't get over that. We moved up. This isn't something that you get over, but you get through, with the help of God, with the right support, and with resources, and so that support is detrimental. And so I know you said, if you don't know if you have somebody that's grieving and you want to buy the book for them, in the book, we also have support for the supporters. Mm-hmm. Because a lot of times, like Monique Williams that was on there, my son was her nephew. My sister don't have any sisters. So my son was her nephew, but she supported me through the process. So how and where does she get the support that she needs? Because she's still grieving as well. And so that is very, very necessary and very needed, in that time also.
Yes. Thank you for sharing. I want you, so we're going to take a really quick break, but I would love for you to read an excerpt from Live Life with No Regrets, from that chapter.
Oh, from Live Life. Okay. Oh, you picked the space you want me to read from, huh? No problem.
Yes. So we're going to take a break, and a quick break for some housekeeping. And then when we come back, we will hear this excerpt from Lady. Oh, and I'm excited. To hear it.
Yeah.
Thank you again for joining us. I do want to invite you again to connect, follow, like, and subscribe. We're at Inspire with Sue W on Facebook and Instagram. And you can also head over to our website at getinspired.live. On our website, you can watch all of our previous episodes. You can also subscribe to our newsletter so that you are not missing anything that's happening with Inspire. Are you or someone you know on a mission to create change while inspiring others to do the same? Well, I want you to be on the other side of me in a future episode, okay? Want to be in conversation with you? And so on our website, getinspired.live, you can fill out an intake form. So you can book your own appearance on Inspire fill out that form, and a member of our team will get back to you. We want to hear from you. And I'm going to do this every Saturday until our dear sister gets a kidney. So some of you know her as Pastor Yanni. Some of you know her as Rav Yanni. Some of you just know her as Yanni or the peace pastor by by so many different names that we know her. But she is in search of a kidney. She needs a kidney donor. She is looking for folk who are fairly healthy, who have the blood types A or O, who have the courage to commit to surgery and save her life. And she'd love to share the safety measures with you. And so to contact her and her family directly, you can email peacepeopleinc@gmail.com. That's peacepeopleinc@gmail.com. You can also head over to emerylivingdonor.org and fill out the survey and enter her name, which is Ayana Davis. Listen, we do this thing in community. We support each other. Let us help our dear sibling get the kidney that she so desperately needs. And if you have a resource, right? If you have a resource, an organization, someplace that she can contact that get in touch with, please let us know. Please let us know so we can forward that information to her. Let us do this work together. I am so glad to see all of you again. We are going to get back into our conversation with Lady O. And if you have a question for her, please post that inside of the chat so that we can make sure that she gets an opportunity to answer them. We're going to go into our book excerpt in just a minute. Welcome back, Lady O. As promised, I would love for you to read this book excerpt for us today.
And so I want to read the excerpt as you requested from Live Life with No Regrets, but also the accompanying part of the workbook that goes with it. The truth is, no one knows when their last day on earth will be. Whether you believe in heaven, hell, or in reincarnation, it doesn't matter. My point is, you will not exist forever. So why don't we prepare for death during life? And I'm not talking about purchasing life insurance and creating a living will. I'm talking about preparing for death by living each day as if it were your last. And then if you go to the workbook, under that same chapter, it talks about, because we're realistic in this as well, releasing regrets. Missed opportunities and foolish choices are what hurt the most when a loved one is no longer here. What I wish I had said, what I wish I had done, what I wish I had shared. How can I make peace with these now?
Thank you for sharing that excerpt.
You're welcome.
What is coming up for you right now?
What am I thinking right now? That we as a people need to get things straight, because that even reflected on when the person is gone. But what about when the person is here? You know, what do you need to do in the end time, you know, to get things right? You know, and I'm not talking about, you know, you haven't spoken to somebody because time has separated you, you know, but I'm talking about those that, you know, it's friction, you know, with loved ones. And my bishop said a long time ago, sorries and apologies don't mean reconciliation, you know, so you can get it straight with somebody. You can apologize and you can have that peace that who was that? Pastor Yanni? I'm sure she talks about that peace that you can have, but it doesn't have to mean reconciliation. But it can mean that you have that peace.
I need you to say that again.
Yeah. So the apologies, the sorries, the things like that, that gives you that peace, but you do not have to have reconciliation with a person. You just have now you've released that energy. You've released that whatever it was, because sometimes it turns into hatred, misunderstandings, and lack of communication and things like that. But once you get that peace through apologies and stuff, it doesn't mean you have to reconcile. You can still just live and knowing that that person is there and I'm here, but we're living in peace now. So that's what's really going through my head. And our grief is predicated on things like that. So when I say preparing for life or preparing for death in life, when people transition, you will find that the people that did not have the relationship that they should have had with the individual, they take it so hard. That's why you be like, what is cousin Vanessa doing all that crying for? Yeah, because she cussed her out every time she saw her. That's why. Now she regretting that, And so you prepare for those things in life. You prepare to be able to go through the journey of grief and healing while you're in life.
Thank you. Thank you
No
for
problem.
sharing that. I see the people are agreeing with, hey, Bianca, it's so good to see you.
Happy!
Talk, Auntie.
It's not me.
Hey, Mr. Sandy, it's so good to see you. Michelle Small says that she will purchase 2 books for her cousin who just lost
Yes.
her 24-year-old son
Yes.
and his
Yes.
girlfriend.
Thank you, Michelle.
Who has this 3-year-old son. Our condolences
Mhm.
to you, Michelle.
Mhm.
And Reverend Dr. Marilyn says she just ordered that bundle. So
Awesome.
thank
Thank
you
you, Dr.
so,
Marilyn.
yeah, thank you for supporting
Yes.
Lady O today. And again, I want to remind you that we are giving away a copy
Yes.
of the book and the workbook. So
Yes.
please, if you have not already, type the hashtag inspire. I invite you to do so. Type that hashtag. Listen, if you don't need it, win the book and give it away.
Right.
Right? Win the book and give it away.
You will
But
need it one day.
yeah, yeah. Well, we will all need it one day. Yes. So please type that hashtag inspire to be included in the drawing to win a copy of the book. Hey, Regina Davis Harris, it's so good to see you. Oh, the people are coming in. Listen, if you have a question for Lady O, please post it. Please post it. I want to be able to have her have the opportunity to answer some of your questions before we end today. So let's talk about Not Another Child.
Mm-hmm.
Right? This is how this organization, this is how you turned your pain into purpose. And you also speak about the importance of honor through legacy, service, and love in the book. So, tell us a little bit about NAC and let us know how has building this legacy helped you carry out your son's name forward?
Girl, this has been like birthing and raising another child. It really, really has. And so starting the organization was twofold. It was like I was talking about, speaking to the youth about their decisions and different things like that. So saving their lives, but also creating this legacy in my son's memory. Little did I could not have fathomed that it would turn out to what it is today. Like, Not Another Child is soon. No, for real. When I talk about my baby, I just smile because it has groomed and blossomed into the unthinkable. When I first came into, and I call it this work, when my son was murdered, it was so ironic because I sang with my choir for years. Sometimes I still try to, but I sang with them for years. And we went to an event in Philadelphia. And as we were leaving to go somewhere else, these women was chasing us down and they had posters and this, that, and the other. And They got on the bus and everything, and they was giving out. This was Dorothy Johnson Spite from Mothers in Charge, never knowing that maybe a month or two later, I was going to need her. And so I learned from that journey from Jackie Rowe Adams, Harlem Mother Saves. You know, I started picking up on their journey and just learning of what was needed to support. And so Not Another Child just kept transitioning. It went from just those kids in the summer, from a one-day event to twice in the summer, to a weekend, to a month. But basketball teams from Connecticut, from Pennsylvania, like from all over. But then the transition to servicing families is what really made us unique. You know, because a lot of people do youth services, but a lot of people don't want to go back and be opened again and again. You know, every time I meet a new mother, every time I hear a mother's story, it's like a thorn in my flesh. You know, like I cannot lose that space of empathy because I'm still where you are. You know, I'm continuing on this journey like you. And so Not Another Child grew from, you know, the youth. I won't say grew from, expanded and matured into, because we still do youth services. Our basketball tournament, which has been our foundation, serviced 500 youth last summer.
Wow.
And you know, NYPD and others won't say it, but it's things like that that helped decline, which happened in East Harlem, where it was at, with gun violence and with crime in the East Harlem area last summer. You know, we had 2 locations and all of this. And big shout outs to my son, Justin, who still runs with that dream. And we make everything therapeutic. And so the teams that are playing, they bring pictures of their loved ones that they've lost through gun violence. So instead of me trying to retaliate, I'm going to win this coveted, whatever that may mean, playing for change trophy in my loved one's honor. You know, and so that, along with, you know, our cultural and career exposure for youth, taking them out of the neighborhood from seeing what they see every day, exposing them to other things. We had kids that live in East Harlem that had never been downtown in the city. You know, and so with that, but you know, my lane is the survivors, is those directly impacted by gun violence. And we do work with them. We do peer support sessions, one in Brooklyn, one in Harlem every month. We have a phenomenal retreat where the first day there's our wellness day, where we have like everything that you need to just purge yourself for wellness. We had someone there last year that did B12 shots. She took blood pressures. The house that we was in had a pool. It had a sauna. Obina her people did facials and massages and everything, because these survivors are stressed. You know, trauma stresses you, and it's a stressor on your body. You know, and these are all parents that's, you find out your child is killed one minute, you're going right back into your community. Some of them are stepping over the blood of their children to get back in their building.
Wow.
You know, and so getting them out of there. We've been to Pennsylvania, upstate New York, you know, just to get them away where they could see the deers and hear, you know, hear the silence of night. And so we've been working on that. And my newest baby now is the Community Violence Intervention National Survivor Network. So our work with survivors will not be, and it has not been over the last year and a half, 2 years, but it will be national, creating a platform and a space for mothers, parents, siblings that are in this journey. They will be able to go to a website, to an app, and find services similar to Not Another Child in their area.
Yeah.
And so we are building up. We are making sure that our people get the support that they need. You know, the same support that others get when it's school shootings, when it's all that. You know, community violence has been something that we have, you know, had since Martin Luther King. consider that community violence. That was gun violence,
Yeah.
So we have been going through this for many more years before school shootings and things of that nature, but we have never gotten the support that others have had,
Mm.
and so our people walk around traumatized, jumping on the 4th of July when it's firecrackers. Our babies think that is the reality of life, and so we're just here to continue to make sure our people get the support they need. And the other thing with our newest effort with the National Survivor Network is giving survivors that are leading organizations similar to me capacity building and training, and helping them to establish relationships for funding, because we all start the work with passion. Our babies are killed. Our passion wants us to get out there and to do something about it. But we have to build up the other side. I've always loved business, and so it's come naturally for me. When my son was murdered and I knew that I would start something, I went back to school and got my graduate degree. Not because I needed it, but because I wanted it, and so we are just helping so many women across the nation to build to keep creating these legacies, and I don't want everyone that hears me talk about legacy and creating legacy to think that the only way to do that is through starting an organization, because it's not. And that's why I said, legacy, honor, and service, because you can service someone that if you want to do it in the name of your loved one, you can service someone in your loved one's name. You can do the cancer walk in your loved one's name, keeping their memory alive. You can do different things to keep your loved one's memory alive. And then the other thing, the love part, was being the best person that you and your loved one always talked about you would be. Going back to school, changing those careers, mending those relationships. I don't really want to do this, but me and my grandfather talked about this till the day he closed his eyes. I'm going to do this for him. And so it's different ways that you create, those legacies. What you thinking about, Sue?
I'm listening to you and looking at our audience on Instagram because I don't want to miss. So unfortunately, I can't see everybody right here. So I have to look to the side every once in a while. But we did share. I see you. Hey Noah. If you're on Instagram and you are putting that hashtag in, unfortunately the StreamYard thing won't pick it up. So I invite you to join us on YouTube or on Facebook. So that we can pick up that hashtag.
Mm-hmm.
And as you were speaking, of course I shared your website.
Okay.
And all of and I'm sure you saw it pop up, and all of the wonderful programs that you offer. And I was thinking to myself, what a legacy, what a way to honor.
Yo, Sue, like even when it popped up, I'm like last year, and a lot of people think, oh, the White House has said. I love that, because it was taking my son to a space that he should have been at, and he still was at.
Mm.
And just being able to take so many other survivors with me. Like, I was the one that would call them and be like, okay, so y'all getting ready to announce the Office of Gun Violence Prevention, but y'all don't have no survivors coming? And we are the ones that are directly impacted on a daily basis. That's not going to work. And they let me bring like 35, 40 people. They shouldn't have never done that. But as grateful as I am for that, I love the community work.
Mm.
Being able to help support people and support families one person at a time. Yeah. But just to see those things, it's like, I had the opportunity to speak in Richmond, Virginia at VSU.
Mhm.
My pastor he has a school down there, the Hezekiah Walker School of Music. And my cousin saw it online and she brought my uncles and my aunt, my mother's last siblings there. And to be on that stage and to look to the left and see them standing there hugging each other, crying, wiping their eyes.
Mm.
And baby, you put our family in the books in the White House. And I'm like, I really did. And so just having that legacy, has been phenomenal. And I'm like, I ain't nowhere near the end of my journey. What's next?
Yeah.
Well,
What's next? There's so much more.
yeah, absolutely.
There is so much
Absolutely. So,
more to come, to
yeah.
come.
Yep.
Oh, we're already at time. I mean,
Oh,
time
yeah.
really does fly when you're having a good time.
Well, my book. What does my book say, Sue? Time doesn't heal, God does. Time doesn't heal, it reveals the why.
I love that quote. We didn't get to that, but I love the quote. Time doesn't heal; it does. It reveals the why. And I think the thing with grief is, and I know like we're kind of focused on that grief when you've lost someone,
Mm-hmm.
but any type of grief, any type of loss, that grief never really goes away, right? There's and I forget who kind of created this or it was something on social media that I saw
Mm-hmm.
or someone talked about it and I just can't remember what her name is, but life come kind of grows around your grief, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Life encompasses the grief.
Mm.
You are able to manage it a little bit
Yeah,
better, you're able to
yeah.
navigate a little bit better, but it's always there, right? It's always
Always.
there.
The
um
grief of my brother around 1990 never left.
mm,
Never. So the grief of my son was layered on top of that. The grief of my mother was layered on top of that. And it's just fighting through all of them, on a daily basis.
yeah.
And I think, it is not one day that goes by that I don't think of them. I don't think of my girlfriend Dee Dee, my girlfriend Marie Bohannon, like my friend Jerome Hall. Like people, when they make an impact in your life like that, you like me and Monique that was on there, we'd be like, if Jerome was here, that wouldn't have happened. That's 20 years later. Like, really? But they're right. Your life encompasses around the grief. And I think, Sue, the only thing is grief on the other end, when it's like the loss of a job, the loss of things like that. Sometimes when you get another job, that grief can go away. It's like, okay, I'm back in business now, and that's why I'm careful with comparing grief,
Mm,
because some things you grieve over it now, but you can obtain those things again. Those materialistic things. Yes, the burning down of a house is grief within itself. And it's
mhm.
heavy grief, especially when your belongings are there. But when you rebuild, that is something that you can get back again. You can't get everything that was in the house, but some things you can recover that. That loss, a friend like you that just transitioned for you after 25 years, you may never get that again. Someone that loved you unconditionally, that knew you from here to here. Even if you meet someone now and they're with you on your journey for the next 25 years, it's still going to be something about your sis,
Mhm.
And so, yeah, I listen, this journey has been something to make me really just think on life,
Yeah.
and think on death. And it's not like spooky, like, oh, I'm thinking about. No, it's like, wow, that will come one day,
Yes.
So that's
Well,
it.
thank you again
Welcome.
for joining us on Inspire. What is what's coming up next for you, and how can we support?
And so what is coming up next for me? We're doing some small things around. We're doing a Women's History tea party. I have some personal things that I'm doing. Oh, I'm going to be on another podcast on Monday. I'll be on another podcast on Monday. If if you're not on my social media, you can follow me as well, Oresa Napper Williams on all platforms. And so I'll be on that on Monday. I'm being honored March 8th in Brooklyn. April 5th is our high noon tea party. We're going to put on gloves and fascinators and be even cuter for the day. And then honoring two people. We're waiting to hear back from them now. So before I announce them, or I won't announce them right now, any survivors out there, and we'll be doing something, our annual pre-Mother's Day event. Looking forward to doing something for dads as well this year. Gun Violence Awareness Month is June. Follow me, and we definitely keep everybody updated on what's to come.
Thank you so much. And I've shared your website inside of the chat, so please make sure you head over to Oresa's website and learn all about the amazing work that she is doing, and so that you can stay connected as well. Well, lady,
can I announce one more thing?
Yes, you can.
So when I launched the book Good Grief, we didn't just launch it with a book signing. We did the Good Grief experience. And so, yes, we launched. We talked about, we had some conversation, myself and Dr. Alfonso Wyatt. But we also had music there from St. Bullock, Ernest Bullock, and Deborah Massey, who wrote some phenomenal work and some phenomenal pieces after the transition. St. of his mom, and Deborah Ann Massey after the transition of her mom and dad. And it was a phenomenal experience. We're looking to go to other cities. We're trying to build something in Philly to go to, and in DC, in some different cities. Because I think now the trajectory that we're in, people are talking about grief more. Death is not like a taboo, and grief is not like a taboo. They're really trying to find support in their grief, and for their mental health. And so we're creating these spaces. And if anybody's interested in that, please reach out. We would love, I got a hit last night from a pastor in Far Rockaway. And he's like, I have 10 to 20 people, and we have experienced so much death individually over the last 2-3 years. Can you come here and do that here? We've been asked to come down to Lynchburg, Virginia. They have a grief group down there. So let's do this together. Yes. So that we'll have the support that we need, and we'll keep pouring resources into you.
Yes, thank you so much for sharing all of that. Make sure you are connected with Lady O so that you are supported as well. Thank you again, Lady O. This has been such a wonderful conversation, and so we're so grateful for all of the work that you're doing.
Thank you,
Sue. Of course, we pray continued success.
Thank you for having me.
Of course. We are so listen. We only have one person, so Minister Sandy, you have one.
Wait, isn't Minister Sandy the one that said she ordered the books too?
No. This is a different one.
Okay.
Yeah, Minister Sandy,
thank you so info, Minister Sandy.
Yeah. Let me inbox me, and I will be sure to get that to Oresa so that she can send you that book. Yeah. Listen, the people are still coming in, and we're ending. Hey, Chuck.
That's those late Saturday morning people. They like, I'm not getting up on no Saturday morning.
Listen. That's so if you got up to kind of hang out with us, I appreciate you. I appreciate you, especially if you are on another time zone. I really, really appreciate you. So thank you again, Oresa. Thank you all, those of you again who have watched on Facebook and LinkedIn and Instagram and YouTube. Inspire would not be without you. Once again, I am your host, Sue A. Webley, and I look forward to seeing you next week. Until then, I want you to stay lifted. I want you to stay motivated. But most of all, I want you to stay inspired. See you again next week.